You're listening to the John Fredericks Radio Network. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America. We're with senior Democrat senator from Virginia. He's the ranking member, Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Mark Warner. He's up for re-election, third term, 2020 here in Virginia. He's the favorite to win that. Democrats in the state have won 15 statewide races in a row. He would go for number 16, I believe. I'm somewhere close on that. Senator, you just mentioned basically the military-industrial complex. Now we've got the neocon saber rattling going on against Iran. These are the usual warmongers. You see them every day. They never change. Some things never change. Military-industrial complex, NSA Director John Bolton, the whole bunch of them now talking about, we had Tom Cotton the other day, one of the most unbelievable statements I've ever heard from a senator, saying, all we have to do is drop 2 bombs on Iran, it's done. These are the same people who told me, Rumsfeld, that we could go into Iran and be out in 90 days. We have this new Fifth Army and the whole thing would be done. And Saddam Hussein would be gone and the world would be peaches and cream. We're getting the same thing now again with Iran. How do you stand on it? Where do we go from here?
Well, good question. First of all, I disagreed with the administration's decision to get out of the Iranian nuclear deal, even though that deal had flaws. I disagreed with the designation of the Iranian Iranian Revolutionary Guard terrorism designation not because they are bad guys and bad actors, but I was afraid that we might have this kind of reaction where the tension level has ramped up dramatically. I am very, and again, as a Gang of 8 member, I've been briefed, but I've been really been on the administration very hard to say, you need to come up here and show other members of Congress in both parties at least the recent evidence of the uptick in Iranian activity, because that uptick is real for the very point you just made, John. God forbid if there was an incident that would require us to then react. I don't want half of America or more than half of America, because candidly there would be people in both the Democratic and Republican Party that were somehow thinking this was all being fabricated out of the White House. Because if we have a moment, the country needs to rally. I don't agree with Senator Cotton that this Iran could be taken out with some short-term military action. I think it would be an extraordinarily challenging effort. We would be successful, but it would be a huge, huge challenge. And I think it is one of the reasons why the administration getting up here and briefing all the members of Congress so they can look at the evidence is extraordinarily important. I just wish it would have happened earlier.
Well, it needs to happen. As Senator, we were lied to in the second Iraq war about WMDs in Saddam Hussein's Iraq that never existed. They had never been found. They never existed. Now you go back and you look at a lot of statements that were made. A lot of people like me now are very suspect. I was opposed to that war at the outset. I was in the minority, but a lot of people now suspect of this information coming out. And so, yeah, I think the senators have to get briefed, and so does Congress. And, we're still operating under a AMUF from, 2000?
Yeah, I think, this is an area where Congress needs to do its job and has to be – Congress can't be a Monday morning quarterback on all this and then, leave all this responsibility with whomever's the president and then blame that president after the fact. We have a constitutional responsibility. If we're going to go into war, it ought to be our responsibility, not left solely to the executive. But I would, and your very point about how we got into Iraq is one of the reasons why it is so, any administration has to keep Congress informed. The one thing I do believe, and I see this each and every day, the men and women who work in our intelligence community do a damn good job. They never get the kind of attention and credit that they deserve for keeping our nation safe. And one of the things that I've been happy about so far, because we've seen this president constantly critical of the intelligence community, is I think they have not politicized our nation's intelligence. I know I got a lot of grief, for example, for supporting Gina Haspel to be the CIA chief, but having that kind of steady hand and long-term professional in the job of the top at the CIA right now is critically important to make sure that Congress and others, when they brief, that they're getting briefed with the real intelligence and not politically driven intelligence.
Here's the good news. President Trump's instincts are to keep us out of these foreign entanglements. He said that. He's been consistent in that since the day he came down the escalator, so I trust his instincts on it. That's the good news.